Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, with school shootings in the national spotlight, Rockbridge County Schools is recruiting school resource officers to keep an eye on kids at 3 more area schools. We'll tell you why the process could be slow. We also have the details on troubling mental health statistics from around the county and a local school. The Lexington Police Department has 4-legged officers almost ready to hit the streets. Find out why community members are looking forward to the arrival of mounted police. The Maury River has been officially recognized as scenic. We'll dive into the environmental factors that could keep the river healthy. All that and more is coming up on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Avalon Purnell.
And I'm Victoria Ernst. The United States alleged that North Korea is selling artillery shells to Russia, likely intended for its invasion of Ukraine.
First of all, we're monitoring to see if they actually get delivered. We think they're going to covertly funnel these through third-party nations to try to hide the fact that it's actually going to Russia for use in Ukraine.
North Korea also fired at least 6 missiles into the sea today. That included an intercontinental ballistic missile that triggered evacuation warnings and halted trains in northern Japan. This comes after yesterday's flurry of more than 20 missile launches. South Korea, Japan, and the United States condemned the launches, and the U.S. responded by extending ongoing joint Air Force exercises with South Korea.
In Brazil, protests continue after a close victory for former leftist president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva over far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro. Thousands of Bolsonaro's supporters thronged a regional army headquarters in Rio de Janeiro yesterday and other military installations around Brazil. Meanwhile, truckers maintained about 150 roadblocks across the country. Election denial rhetoric has fueled the conflict. Bolsonaro gave a video statement yesterday calling for an end to the protests by his supporters, and the incoming vice president is in the capital, Brasilia, beginning the transition between administrations. The Parkland, Florida school shooter awoke this morning from the first night of his sentence to life in prison without parole. He killed 17 people and wounded another 17 on Valentine's Day 2018 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The Rockbridge County School Board knows the numbers, more than 260 school shootings in 2022, and the year's not over yet. The board plans to hire 3 more school resource officers, or SROs, to make the schools safer. But as Lily Mott reports, the school board and the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office are learning that's easier said than done.
I'm here live at Central Elementary School, which is one of the schools on the list to hire a school resource officer. 3 elementary schools in Rockbridge County are hoping to hire school resource officers, or SROs, as soon as possible. Increasing gun violence in schools, including the shooting at a St. Louis high school last week, is calling national attention to school safety. The school board plans to add SROs to every elementary school in the division. Natural Bridge is the only elementary school with an SRO now.
We're not used so much to enforce school rules. We can. If we see a kid running down the hallway, we say, hey, slow down. They listen to us. But other than the security of us being here, we try to build a relationship with these kids. Because most of the time, they only have a negative image of police officers.
Rockbridge County High School and Maury River Middle School are the other 2 schools that have SROs.
Unfortunately, in the public, when our students meet with law enforcement, it's a lot of times it's a negative experience. Here they have the opportunity to interact with law enforcement on a positive basis, just have casual conversations, have positive interactions.
However, results from the Virginia School Survey showed that almost a third of RCHS students disagreed that their SRO makes them feel safe. Rockbridge County School Board Chair Wendy Lovell says the SROs have decreased student misbehavior, and having an SRO at the other schools would be beneficial.
The challenge, of course, is hiring SROs. Those positions, applicants for those positions are few and far between.
The Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office and Rockbridge County School Administrators will continue their search to fill the open SRO positions in Central, Fairfield, and Mountain View elementary schools. Rockbridge County secured funding for all 3 SROs and are hoping to fill those positions as soon as possible.
President Joe Biden called on Americans Wednesday night to use their ballots in next week's midterm elections to stand up against lies, violence, and dangerous ultra-MAGA election disruptors.
You know, American democracy is under attack because the defeated former president of the United States refused to accept the results of the 2020 election.
The conflict trickles down to Northern Virginia's competitive 7th Congressional District. Two-term incumbent Democrat Abigail Spanberger took the seat in 2018. Republican challenger Yelsey Vega is a local elected official seeking to become Virginia's first Latina member of Congress. The district was overhauled during last year's redistricting. It's almost time for Lexington voters to decide who will represent them on City Council. 4 candidates are running for 3 seats. 2 longtime incumbents, David Sigler and Chuck Smith, seek re-election. 2 newcomers are also in the race. Nicholas Betts, a Washington and Lee law graduate who sits on the Planning Commission, and Colette Barry Reck, founder of the nonprofit Carebox Project. She's come under fire for election denial Facebook posts, but she claimed her account was hacked.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, suicide rates are rising in Rockbridge County. Stay tuned to find out what preventative measures are available.
Enjoy the sunny weather while we've got it, because it may not continue into the weekend. My forecast coming up.
Is playing the toughest part of the ODAC schedule. Mackenzie Kane takes us through the matchup against ranked Randolph-Macon. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Victoria Ernst.
And I'm Avalon Purnell. Suicide rates in Rockbridge County have increased 4% since 2020. The increase is greatest among teens and young adults. At Rockbridge County High School, almost 18% of responding students said they contemplated suicide during the previous academic year. Local experts say looking for changes in behavior and securely storing weapons and drugs are the best preventative measures. Read Carly Snyder's full story on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
The parent company of Dodge and Chrysler and the U.S. government are warning owners of 276,000 older vehicles to stop driving them right away. Takata airbags apparently exploded in 3 more vehicles, killing the drivers. The company is telling people to stop driving Dodge Magnum wagons, Dodge Challenger and Charger muscle cars, and Chrysler 300 sedans from 2005 through the 2010 model years. The death toll from exploding Takata airbags has reached at least 32 worldwide, including 23 in the United States. You can go to www.nhtsa.gov/recalls and key in your vehicle identification number to check for open recalls. Anyone who walks historic Lexington's brick sidewalks would recognize the familiar clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages. And soon, the community members will get to see police officers on horses too. Stephanie Chigalori reports why members of Lexington Police Department will soon mount up.
Police Chief Angela Green said a mounted unit is important to build relations with the community, but she also said it will improve the city's safety. Green said 1 mounted officer equates to about 10 officers.
Having a mounted unit is really a force multiplier to help us keep our community safe, but also they are a great asset if you have any individuals that are lost or missing.
Green also said she wants the horses to be used for therapy for children and adults, whether they've suffered domestic violence or even drug addiction.
We as a police department want to make our horses available and partner with other mental health and substance abuse programs to bring that type of program and preventive care to our community.
Community members we spoke to are excited to eventually see officers on horses.
I think it's great. I mean, being in a historic little town like this, to have that, I think it's going to really add a lot to the look of our downtown area.
The only concern seemed to be who would pick up the poop. Green said officers will take care of it when the time comes. Green also said the unit is being fully funded through community donations and not city money. The Lexington Mounted Unit, Inc. is a nonprofit organization that is raising money towards the unit. Other small businesses and community members have pitched in as well, including the Grace Episcopal Church.
We thought it was a great idea to build relationships in the community, to offer better security for parades and things like that.
Community members even loaned the 2 horses, Jasper and Buddy, to start the unit. I'm here at the Virginia Horse Center as Green is out training with Jasper. She hopes to have him and Buddy prepared for the Christmas parade on December 2nd. So if they're ready, you'll be able to say hi to them too. In Lexington, Steph Chigalory for the Rockbridge Report.
All 42.4 miles of the Maury River are contained within the borders of Rockbridge County. The Maury is now designated as a scenic river. Tyler Palisha asked the experts whether issues with the river's health could lie below its surface.
Last April, the Department of Conservation and Recreation designated the Maury as a scenic river. Brandy Flint, Rockbridge's Director of Economic Development, says this designation will help local businesses by attracting more people to the area. But tourism is still dependent on the health of the river. Tom Stanley, an agriculture extension agent from Virginia Tech, says that the health of the Maury is dependent on 2 main factors: keeping cattle out of the river's tributaries and minimizing sediment and agricultural runoff. Stanley is optimistic about the Maury's health.
It's probably not ideal, but it's not as bad as a lot of other streams. We've made a lot of progress in terms of the health of the river, and that's been accomplished largely from, livestock farmers voluntarily excluding livestock from tributaries.
Changing crop production practices have also improved the river's health.
By controlling the existing vegetation with herbicides, we can direct seed a crop that's being grown without having to disturb the soil.
Many nature lovers enjoy the Maury because it offers something that they don't feel they can find in many other parts of the country.
Well, coming from the northeast Pennsylvania area, this is extremely clean as far as we're concerned.
Anglers are also drawn to the Maury. It is home to over 30 different fish species. In 2019, an over 200-year-old dam was removed from the river. Robert Humston, Director of Environmental Studies at WNL, says the removal of the dam has restored the river to a more natural state.
People come from all over the state to fish it because it's both scenic and a really nice place to float, but also an excellent fishery where you're very likely to catch fish.
You can protect the aesthetics and the health of the river by disposing of garbage in the proper receptacles. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Tyler Palisha.
The Maury is not only a source of weekend fun, but also part of the local drinking water supply. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, as the winter months approach, the White House is funding billions of dollars of heating assistance.
And hear about how kids are running and rolling to play inclusive flag football, coming up on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
As fall continues, the days are getting shorter and darker. Remember, your clocks will fall back an hour for daylight savings time on Sunday, November 6th at 2 a.m. Savor your extra sleep because winter is on the way. As weather gets colder, the heat has to turn up, and that makes life more expensive. The White House is distributing billions of dollars to help families with those heating costs through a federal program. The Biden administration is giving families across the country $4.5 billion through low-income house energy assistance program. The funds will go to a state and local government to help people pay for their home heating and cooling costs, settle debts, and make home energy repairs. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association says this winter's home energy costs will be at the highest level in more than 15 years. I haven't turned on my heater yet, but I'll keep that in mind, knowing that the costs are higher this year.
Absolutely. And Chaz, I'm curious, we've had some pretty warm weather the past couple of days, but should we go ahead and be ready to turn in our heaters?
You know, if you are one of those go-getters that likes to get things done ahead of time, I would say most certainly, but as of now, it's not a huge deal, and that is evident in the upcoming forecast. Let's take a look. Taking a look at this awesome live shot here of Lexington's Central Elementary. Let's get into the week's forecast. Taking a look at our current conditions here, we can see we've got a high of 68 degrees, low 48 degrees, barometric pressure at 30 and 36/100 inches, and a wind speed at 3 miles per hour and humidity at 65%. Checking out our radar, we can see not much is happening. We've had a really sunny week, a lot of awesome weather, but as I've said, rain and other sorts of bad weather are on their way. Looking at our larger area here in terms of weather, 68 degrees here in Lexington, 70 down the road in Buena Vista, both sunny, and up here in Stanton we can see cloudy and 67 degrees. Cloudy over here again, 73 degrees in Charlottesville. Down here in Lynchburg, sunny and 70 degrees, my apologies, cloudy and 70 degrees. Over here in Covington, we can see some 69 degrees and cloudy. Roanoke, 69 degrees and cloudy. Looking at our 5-day forecast, we can see what I was talking about earlier with that sun and then the rain kind of coming over on the weekend. So on Friday, we see it's sunny and it's 71 degrees with a low of 63 degrees. On Saturday, we can see high of 71, low of 57. Again, that cloud cover coming in. Sunday, we're finally getting hit with that rain. High of 71 degrees and low of 59 degrees. And on Monday, it's sunny once again with a high of 77 and a low of 58. And on Tuesday, sunny once again and sunny for the rest of the week with a high of 66 and a low of 44. Avalon and Vic, back to you.
Thanks, Chaz. Up next, Mackenzie Kane wraps up Washington and Lee's football match with Randolph-Macon.
And hear about inclusive flag football. It's helping football-loving kids belong. Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Victoria Ernst here with Avalon Purnell and our anchor, Addie Grace Cook for sports.
Yeah, we are nearing the end of baseball season, and I hear that history was made this week. Addie, can you tell us more?
Yes, baseball fans everywhere were surprised when Houston Astros pitcher Christian Javier and 3 Houston relievers pulled off just the second no-hitter in World Series history against the Philadelphia Phillies, after the Phillies slammed the Astros with a 7-0 victory in Game 3. The Astros blanked Philadelphia 5-0 Wednesday night to even the matchup at 2 games each. Back in 1956, the New York Yankees had the only other World Series no-hitter. Game 5 is on tonight in Philly. Generals football headed into last weekend with only 1 conference loss and a chance at tying up the ODAC for Young Alumni Weekend. But that's before the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets took control of Saturday's game in the second quarter, with a final score of Macon 35, WNL 21. Mackenzie Kane talked to quarterback Stephen Murrin and a returning general for a different perspective.
Good afternoon, Rockbridge. I'm here on Wilson Field where the Generals football team just took on their undefeated conference rival, Randolph-Macon College, resulting in an unfortunate 35-21 loss. I'm joined here today by starting quarterback Stephen Murrin. What sort of conversations were going on field today to try and change the pace of this game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew Randolph-Macon's a great program and had a really good team this year, so going into it, we knew it was going to be a big battle for us. I'm just really proud of the way our guys played till that last down, and coaches did a great job of kind of keeping our heads level and doing everything we can just to try and get the W.
Also joining me here today is Washington and Lee alum and former captain Josh Brees. You know, having watched the game today, how would you compare the conference championship winning team that you helped lead last year to the team you saw out on the field here today, and what advice would you give to them?
I see that they're very, very confident in themselves, even though the unfortunate result of this game. I still see a lot of fight in this team. I saw a lot of grit, and I see a lot of effort going forward, and my advice to them is keep following the path.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
The Generals are 5-3 now and are on the road this week at Bridgewater. Other Washington and Lee teams were victorious in the past few days. Washington and Lee men's soccer defeated Virginia Wesleyan 6-1 yesterday. The team will head to the Old Dominion Athletic Conference tournament this weekend. Also yesterday, Generals volleyball flattened Lynchburg 3-0 and will also be headed for the ODAC tournament. And WNL women's soccer triumphed over Roanoke 2-0 on Tuesday. This week has been somewhat less fruitful for Virginia Military Institute sports teams. VMI football fell to Mercer 55-14 on Saturday, and Keydets men's soccer also played on Saturday, losing to Furman 2-1. Southern Virginia University's Knights women's volleyball played Pfeiffer on Tuesday, winning 3-1. SVO's women's soccer ended up tied with Brevard College in a Tuesday dust-up. And SVU's men's soccer fell to Methodist in a closely fought 4-3 game. Now for the Rockbridge County High School Wildcats. In a tough volleyball fight Tuesday, Spotswood smacked down the Wildcats 3-2. However, RCHS football stood victorious over Harrisonburg on Friday night. They won 44-23. Perry McClure's Fighting Blues haven't played for a few days, but when we last saw them, varsity football beat Bath County 33-17. Fighting Blues volleyball also played last Thursday, but they lost to Narrows 3-0. In Missouri, a new after-school program is helping children with special needs play sports. It's all-inclusion flag football, and it's popular with students. Alan Shope has more.
Hi. Chin Elementary third grader Jackson Grinter loves football. Football, please. Told you, when his mom found out he was going to have a chance to play it, she nearly cried.
The happiness on his face.
Jackson is part of the all-new after-school flag football program at Chin Elementary.
No matter where you come from, no matter who you are, everyone belongs in something.
Alex says it's all about outside activity and inclusion opportunity, all wrapped into learning the sport of flag football, no matter the challenges.
It doesn't matter. We're all the same. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to learn something.
The after-school event lasts about 45 minutes, and there's just under 70 kids involved. It's the first of its kind, all-inclusive flag football team in the area.
You know, it's amazing to see it. It's cool that they know that everyone can belong.
Just lightens your heart. It's not hard to include all kids of all abilities.
I think, you know, ultimately it's all about coming together.
Because football, please. And that means this timeout is over.
That is all for today's Rockbridge Report. Stay up to date on more regional news by visiting rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
And join us again on Tuesday for our weekly news update.